And for those of you who may just be joining, it seems that my streaming is doing funny, fancy things here today. It says I'm streaming live, but then in some cases it doesn't appear that I am streaming. So I do hope this is working on all ends. I'm going to just double check everything here. My lovely my lovely producer husband has informed me that we are back, so it's all great. Thank you, my darling. Thank you for keeping us on track. So we have let's do one more Ave saw breath just to ground and center through that. All right, here we go. And a heart. Ave. Sa. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And welcome to those of you who are now with us on Awakenings Moments to Inspire. We have got a great show for you today with an amazing guest, but I do have a few left brain things that I'd like to just quickly go over. If you aren't aware of the powerful energies that are already floating out there and you're already not caught up in it, which I'm sure you are, it's even going to get more powerful and intense on the 25th because that is new moon, but it's also a solar eclipse. So I just want to let everyone know that I will be holding my regular new moon ceremony circle on that on the 25th. It'll be at 7 o'clock unless there's anything coming in from the community that I'm not aware of. But if you'd like to email me at waterlove@gmail.com to get on the list, and for the link, it'll be a Zoom private link. So it is just the community coming together in a wonderful, inclusive space to share the beautiful things that they birthed and all of the wonderful, amazing things that they're hoping to birth in November. And then we just come together and add our energies, and hopefully all these beautiful birthing energies bring about the manifestations that we're trying to accomplish for the month, right? What else do we have today? We just passed the new moon, or the full moon. I hope you were all able to join Jess on the 10th, I believe, was when she had her full moon ceremony with Sri and Kira on the Monday. So it was quite powerful. And I really, one more thing I do have with our beautiful community that's coming up. A member of our community, Gary, has put together, or is beginning to help us put together, a book. And he's come up with a beautiful title, which I've forgotten. And I do apologize, Gary. I will put it on the postings next week. And we have come up with a beautiful idea where the community members can come together, those who write prose, poetry, who are artists. And we want to do a collaboration book to act as a fundraiser to sell within the community and outside of the community for inspiration and to help raise money for the Global Minga projects. And there are so many Global Minga projects on the go with the Yoga of Self-Ascension community, the Peace Pyramids that the first one was completed in Ecuador just recently. All kinds of wonderful things are happening there. There's guests going into Tosa Blue Mountain, Ecuador every weekend from all over Ecuador and the Andes. It's quite amazing to see. And there is helping indigenous communities around the world with everything from housing to access to internet. So many beautiful Global Minga projects that we're working on. So we're hoping to put together a book of all of our collaborations, of all of our poetry and our writing and our art, and to create this wonderful masterpiece of inspiration that we hope to send out into the world and then use as a fundraiser. So we're going to even add even more to the world. So again, if you're interested in that, please email me at waterloveandlight@gmail.com. So I think that's all of our left brain things for today. Now to dive deep. I'm going to take a sip of water before we do that. I wanted to dive into the ascended numerology for today, which is a 7. And I thought this was wonderful because we're going to talk about like lifelong recognition of flow and being in service. And today's ascended numerology is a 7. And that is the harmony of the master and recognition of service. And that is the epitome of my guest here today. But what came to me as I felt into the energies of today? So this is what I wrote. Be in harmony with the master that is you. Know that the choice to lift and rise above the discernments of life is up to you 100%. The energies of the day is calling you to claim your mastery and release anything that is holding you back, like fear, doubt, or guilt. Embrace the gratitude and service of others, for they are the simplest, easiest, and joyous ways to be in harmony with the master that is you. And that is what I had for the energies of today. So I have a beautiful guest today. I can't wait for you to meet him. His name is Johannes Linstead, and he is a master at the guitar. I have heard some of his music. It is glorious. He specializes right now in Spanish, but I'm sure he's done the spectrum. We'll probably go into that. And he has, not only is he a musician, he's a Reiki master, he's a sound healer. There's so many sides to this beautiful man. I just can't wait for you to meet him. So let's further ado, let's just bring him out here. Johannes, come on down. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Awakening to Inspire. I am so happy to have you on here. You are a Canadian, born and bred musician, and you have influenced music all over the world from what I've gathered here. And how did you even begin with your music and where you were going with that? Is it something that started right from like knee high, or how did you find it?
Well, when I was a child, I was always very creative. I loved drawing. That was my favorite thing from, I don't know, probably as soon as I could hold a pencil, crayon, or a pencil. And I just loved sketching and drawing things. So I think that developed a love of creativity. And then when I was about 8 years old, I was given a guitar from my sister. She had a guitar and she just didn't really take much interest in it. She was playing keyboards and accordion at the time.
Oh,
So
okay.
she didn't really gravitate towards the guitar. So she gave it to me on my 8th birthday. And from there, art was way up here at that time. Guitar was kind of down here, but slowly over the years, art went down, and I just became really enthusiastic about learning all the different styles of guitar. And probably by the time I was 12 years old, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I immersed myself in many styles. I was raised listening to classical music, so even to this day, that's my first love.
Mine too.
Classical, and then as I got into high school, I went into other styles, rock, jazz, and of course, learning classical guitar, you always learn from the Spanish masters as well, like Tarrega, Sor. So those were my early influences.
Oh, beautiful. I've listened to you. You have some beautiful stuff on YouTube. I believe it's just your name, Johannes. I'll put up his email and website for you all there, and I'll just leave it there. Everyone copy that down. But if you're looking for him, just type him in on YouTube and it will bring up his YouTube channel. You have so much beautiful music there just on YouTube. I had it on the other night just listening to it. It was fabulous.
Thank you.
Do you tour the world? You're not just here in Canada, you're all over, right?
Yeah, we generally tour quite a bit. The last few years, due to COVID and some personal issues as well, kind of made me stay a little bit more local. But I mean, we've performed for royalty in the Kingdom of Bahrain. I've been to India, performed there, through the Caribbean and America, many different states in the US and in Canada as well.
Now, does your sister tour with you at all, or does she?
Oh, no. No, she gave up music long time ago when I was a kid still. Yeah.
I find the accordion quite fascinating. That's not really an instrument most people think to pick up. But hey,
yeah,
interesting for her. Holy smokes.
Well,
Um,
one of the main instruments in my group is accordion. Actually, I have a wonderful accordion player, Jordan Abraham, and he adds so much to the group when we perform live because he's such a character, and he's it's just brings so much life and love to the sound.
I'm trying to think if I remember one of the videos you had, and there was a gentleman that was playing, and I'm trying to think if it was an accordion now, but he had a black hat on. Anyway, it was beautiful. I
Yeah,
was
that would
looking
be
more at
Jordan.
you. I was focused more on you than everyone else. I'll have to go back and listen to them all. Hello, my dog is now. Yes, thank you. Does your family, does anyone else in your family follow music or do music? How your parents?
Well, my mother used to play guitar,
Mhm.
doesn't anymore, but she was an early inspiration. My
Nice.
dad, when he was a kid, I think he played euphonium, if anybody knows what that is, and he actually studied opera singing for a while. So
Wow.
yes, a little bit of musical influence from my family. Mhm.
Nice, nice, nice. And do do you do any art at all, like physical art, or is it
I
just
still
all
do,
music for you?
yeah, but not very often. I'm just so I have so many things going on at any given moment that it's hard to find time for things like that. That
So if
is one thing I do want to engage in more, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
As far as music's concerned coming up, what have you got going up on in the new year coming?
Well, I'm working on a lot of projects at the time, and unfortunately, when you work on so many projects, it's hard to get any project done. So I'm working on a new yoga album. I also record under the name Seva G, which has the word
Mhm.
Seva. That I was given the name Seva Singh, and G you
Mhm.
probably know is sort of like a term of respect,
Endearment?
I
No.
guess.
Respect,
So
yeah,
Seva
yeah.
G is what I also record under. I'm working on a Seva G album and two different Spanish guitar projects. One is my sort of typical, more up tempo Latin rhythms, danceable stuff, and another one will be Spanish guitar, but more in the classical realm. With I want to add some vocalizations to a classical, make it more like arias and things like that.
Nice,
So
nice.
I've already got it kind of written. I'm just more or less looking for the right libretto, the right text for it.
Mhm,
I might use like a requiem text.
mhm.
You might have heard of like Mozart's Requiem, things like that.
Yeah.
So I want to use these historic texts and put them to my music.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Mhm.
Creativity just flows from your pores,
You
which is a
know
good
what? I
thing.
don't know how or why, but it's a blessing and a curse. It's because once I start something new,
Yeah,
something even newer comes, and it's like, well, now I want to work on that. So it's hard because I want all my music to get out there, but I have a backlog of music that I would it would take lifetimes to record.
yeah.
I've got so much classical music, hundreds and maybe even thousands of pieces of classical pieces for piano, guitar, violin, flute, string quartet. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get it all out. So maybe after my death, they'll find all my handwritten sheet music and one day get it recorded by somebody else.
You'll be like all those famous composers that are famous after. Well, you're famous now, but you'll be living on into the eons with all
Yeah.
of your music. That that's amazing, that's amazing. Um, but you're not just a musician, you're just even more beyond that. And what I found when I was speaking with you before, was just how you were so in touch with music at such a young age. It
Mhm.
helped you with the flow of your life, and like you were saying
Yeah.
before, it was like you got into doing something fabulous that you loved, and then something even more fabulous came along, and you had to kind of like, "What am I gonna do?" It's like you're manifesting everything without even trying or without even realizing. And
Yeah.
has that always been for you? Is that always been something for you? Like you were saying, it
Well,
just seems to fall
uh,
for you.
yeah, definitely a lot of flow, but that's not to say there hasn't been a lot of hard work and a lot of
Mhm.
struggles and a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
heartache. There's been a lot of triumphs and a lot of failures.
Mhm.
But definitely music has been a companion that has helped me emotionally, spiritually, consciously, in so many different realms. I think when one really immerses themselves in something, specifically creative,
Mhm.
it does change the mind. In fact, I just met a guy yesterday and we got talking and he asked what I did. And I said, well, I'm a musician. He said, oh, musicians are a different breed. There's something different about them. You have to hold them to a different standard and a different level because their minds work different. And I
Yeah.
guess to a degree that must be true. Um,
I live
as
with a musician, I can verify.
There you go. You know, he's a strange bird. But during my teens, that's when I was really more than dedicated. It's obsessed, I guess would probably be a better word.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was play my guitar. I never failed any subjects in high school,
Yeah.
but somehow music was just what I wanted to do. All my friends would go out partying, you know, and being naughty kids, drinking alcohol and whatever else. I never got into that. Even to this day, I don't drink. I've never been drunk. I live a very clean lifestyle.
Mhm.
Music was my drug, I guess you could say. And
Yep.
through the hours and hours of just intense focus, I remember, you know, coming home from school or even coming home at lunch, I'd be practicing. Come home after school, right away, pick up my guitar. I'd be sitting there playing, playing, playing. The sun would go down. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't drink. I'd just be immersed in my own little mind, being
Yeah.
creative and practicing and challenging myself. And like I said, I think that sort of rewired my brain. And I remember I was composing classical music when I was still pretty young, but probably when I was about 15 or 16, I remember something really switched in my brain. And all of a sudden my compositions went from here to way up here, like just
Wow.
more intricate, longer pieces, uh, better melodies, counterpoint, all of it just suddenly made sense. And when the music made sense, all of a sudden the universe made sense. It was this great epiphany.
Yeah.
Somehow music led me to that. And once I graduated high school, I had already discovered meditation. I got interested in out of body experiences and paranormal and things like that. And that led me to meditation. And
Mhm.
from meditation, I got interested in Buddhism. And Buddhism led me to Kung Fu. So I started training in martial arts, Kung Fu, and it was unbelievably hard, brutal training. I mean, we didn't use any protective gear. When you got punched, you got punched. So when you're getting punched like that, your reflexes develop a lot quicker than if you have
That's right.
someone punching
I
with
betcha.
band like boxing gloves and face protectors. No, when you get hit over and over, your mind adjusts again for that. So I would come home from my kung fu classes with bruises, my hair pulled. I had long hair back then too. Footprints all over me. I don't know if I broke any bones other than in my feet, but luckily I never broke any hand bones at that time. But my knuckles would be all bloody because we'd have to punch into like corn kernels, you know, before
Okay.
the popcorn is popped. It's like really hard. We'd be punching into that.
Oh, like a
Like, oh,
bag.
it was horrible training, but it was also spiritual
Mm.
because again, it's something that you dedicate your mind to, your body to,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of energy flowing in your body when you're doing this because we do exercises as well where you're shifting energy in your body. So it's sort of like yoga in a way,
Mhm.
but you're
Mhm.
getting beaten up at some times. So, so doing the meditation, I guess doing all the kung fu exercises, doing the music. Again, I had another awakening when I was about 24. I had a Kundalini awakening. And at that
Mhm.
time, I didn't know what it was. Should I go into that or?
Oh, yes, by all
Yeah.
means, because
Okay.
some people have Kundalini awakenings and they don't know what they are, and it can
Yeah.
sometimes frighten them. So having
Yeah.
a person who is open and is, that you're willing to speak of it, yeah, by all means,
Mhm.
if you're willing to dive deep, let's dive deep.
Okay. Sure. So I was actually meditating, trying to induce an out of body experience. And I was laying down. Actually, okay, no, I'll just leave that part. It'll just make the story longer. I was laying down on a couch, and then I don't know how long I was meditating for. All of a sudden, these tremors started occurring in my body.
Mhm.
I didn't realize it was just my body that was experiencing these tremors. I thought there was a mild earthquake. Most people probably had that experience where there's a mild earthquake and everything's just kind of shaking like that. And that's what
I
was
live in
happening.
Ontario where that's not common, everyone.
Yeah, that's true. But that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So this experience started happening where my body was vibrating, vibrating. And they're going, oh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden it just went whoosh. And this sublime calm just overtook my body. And then that's when I realized, okay, it wasn't an earthquake. It was something else. My body just became so calm. My mind became calm. And then the best way to describe it would be as if liquid energy started flowing in through my toes, through my feet, started rising slowly up my legs. And I could feel it going through the bones, through the marrow, up through the legs, up through the lower torso. And when it got to this part of my body, I could literally feel it like being every organ being filled, as if you're pouring something into it. And specifically my heart, I could feel it. It was like liquid was just being poured from a cup into my heart. And my heart just started glowing. And I felt all this energy throughout my body. And that lasted for a while. I don't even know how long. And then it just sort of slipped away. And after that, I was a different person. My consciousness really changed. And I didn't even understand it. I started to become very intuitive. And in fact, I know this is a special kind of show, so I would say it here. I wouldn't normally talk about this on any other radio show.
You're okay here. We are all in the same boat.
I developed psychic abilities,
Yeah.
and you can ask the people close to me. They'll say, yes, he's got some weird abilities. I started to know people's thoughts. And I'm not saying all the time, and I don't like to freak people out with this because they think, oh, maybe he's reading my mind. I'm not doing that. It doesn't really work
Just
like
little
that.
flashes.
Yeah. I'll get signals. I'll get messages. I'll know things. I had so many precognitive dreams that I just consciously, and I tried to rationalize this, like, no, this is coincidence, but I couldn't. I tried for a long time to say, no, these things that are happening, it's just coincidence. But the rational mind could not account for all these experiences that kept happening over and over. Dreams of things that were impossible for me to know. The next day they would come true. Just really, really bizarre stuff. And I think that that experience as well also helped me connect to the divine, or whatever you want to call it, and has been embedded in my music ever since.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So how did you finally figure out what you actually had was a Kundalini? Did you do some searching, asking people?
I had no point of reference whatsoever. I had never read any literature about Kundalini. I didn't know the word. But a number of years after that experience, I was given a book from a doctor who I knew, who was, she was just an acquaintance. And she was writing a book. She was studying Kundalini. And I started reading it. And I go, oh my goodness, this is what happened to me. And I'm reading through all these different personal accounts from people who have had these spontaneous experiences.
Yeah.
And I realized this is what happened. So then I started going on the internet and looking up the word Kundalini. And I thought, yeah, this is definitely what happened to me. And it's a real phenomenon. And then from there, I had to give up Kung Fu because my music career took off.
Yeah.
And this is where I was talking about the hardships, because, I was trying for years to get a record deal and be successful with my music. And I was doing okay locally. I was playing a lot of shows. I was making okay money. And then I put out my own CD and I started sending it around to all kinds of different record companies, got a lot of rejections and a lot of heartache with that. You feel, hey, I think this is good music. People seem to like it that I know. My mom likes it. My dad likes it. Everybody's got to like it.
Yeah.
So I started shopping around and got a lot of rejections. And then finally, this one label in California, Real Music, picked it up. And I ended up signing with them. And I did 4 albums with them. And they had really great distribution and got me known around the world, especially in the US. They were in stores that I don't think really exist now, or maybe they don't sell CDs, like Sharper Image, Barnes and Nobles, all those bookstores,
Mhm, mhm.
the nature store. And I was selling tons and tons of CDs through them, through these non-traditional
Music.
channels, but
Yeah,
also in regular stores as well. So my
interesting.
music career took off. I had to give up Kung Fu because I couldn't be on stage with bloodied hands and black eyes and bruises.
Or risk breaking these, right?
Or wrist
These
breaking,
are
right?
precious now.
Yeah. So, so I gave up Kung Fu, but I continued with Qigong, which is sort of an aspect of Kung Fu. I continued with Qigong, and I discovered Kundalini Yoga.
Nice.
So I started taking Kundalini Yoga classes, and I realized my teacher, Harinam Singh Khalsa, had a lot of the same abilities that I did. So through his practice of Kundalini Yoga, he developed psychic abilities,
Mhm.
and I just continued with it, and then I was urged to take the teacher training, and eventually I did and became a certified Kundalini yoga instructor.
Wow. And you're also a sound therapy and, therapist as well. How'd
Yeah.
you get into that?
Well,
I'm
that I do intuitively because I'd say since the Kundalini awakening, I have a relationship with sound.
Mhm.
It's hard to describe, but I think most people get the feeling like maybe the first time someone heard Stairway to Heaven, you get that tingling sensation in your body. It's like there's a magical sound to it. There's something that is just indescribable about certain music that just activates something within us.
Yes.
So music, as we know it, pop music. Well, I don't know about so much pop music, but certain songs,
My
certain
husband might
songs
agree
from
with you
certain
there.
genres have that ability of tapping into one's soul, you could say.
Yeah.
And that's one aspect. So I like to have that in my Spanish guitar music. So,
Mhm.
like I said, I have that frequency embedded into my Spanish guitar music. So I like to think that when people listen to my music, they might not know it, but they're getting a certain healing experience as well. I've gotten
I
many, many emails over the years, people saying how my music helped them through difficult times, divorces, the death of a loved one, their own experience maybe with going through cancer therapies, things like that. When I get messages like that from people, I feel so grateful that music has found me
Mhm.
and that I have found music and that I've been able to disseminate my music to a wider audience so that if it does help them, then I feel blessed. But then there's the other aspect, which is just etheric sounds, the sounds of healing bowls, like
Mhm.
crystal bowls and gongs, and even the Indian native flutes,
Mm.
shakers, all kinds of things like that can really touch different aspects of one's psyche
Mhm.
and free them. So when those frequencies, and it might be different for everybody. So for some person, it might be a flute that heals them. For another, it might be a guitar. For some, it might be the sound of a simple note on a gong.
Mhm.
But there's something that will trigger somebody eventually if they're open to it and if they want to receive. So that might not even be a prerequisite, having that openness. But if
Mhm.
they do have that openness, I believe that healing can be really enhanced and it can transcend so many things, so much of our past, because we all have a past. We all
Yeah.
have had traumas, some more than others,
Yes.
and we all need healing, especially in this day and age. There are so many difficulties in life. There are so many challenges. There are so many things that have brought us down, so many things that have separated us. We
Mm.
need something that will heal us and then unify us. When we're healed within, then we can unify as a whole, as a people. So that's why I feel that healing is so essential, especially in this day and age.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. The crystal singing bowls have really resonated with me over the course of as far when you were talking about how it can just that one noise can change and shift it instantaneously, and that's actually what happened for me. I had been listening to a lot of, um, Tibetan singing bowls,
Mhm.
mantras, um, I do listen to classical music, that kind of thing as well, but last year, I found a site that had, on YouTube
Mhm.
that, did crystal singing bowls,
Hmm.
and the first time I listened to them, I have mild synesthesia, which I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
if any of the viewers know what that is, but
Hmm.
when you close your eyes, it's more when I close my eyes. I don't necessarily see it as much when my eyes are open, but I get streaks of light when noises go off, especially loud noises. But when the
Hmm.
crystal bowls go off, rather than seeing streaks of light, it becomes this beautiful misty cloud, and all of the colors blend together. It shifted my ability to meditate more deeply,
Hmm.
and just shifted me to a whole new level. And I praise crystal singing bowls now, and I'm
Yeah.
so thankful that I found them,
Hmm.
because, like you were saying, sound can aid in the meditation, and sometimes it's just a single noise, sometimes it could be, a melody, whatever it is, and it can just lift you to that next level.
Yeah.
And, I'm in a house that has musicians in it, so we have sound going off all of the time, but I
Yeah.
had never heard anything quite like these crystal singing bowls. So I highly recommend anybody who loves meditation and listening to mantras or Tibetan singing bowls, anything like that, find crystal singing bowls, because they are amazing. My cats have picked up on the energy of the day and have decided that they wanted to turn my hallway into a racetrack. I'm going to see if my husband can stop them. That just lends to how much the energy is going on here today. It's just absolutely amazing. So, how did you became a musician? How did you become a healer? Because you're now a Reiki master. You
Hmm.
have. We're going to talk about something extra special coming up here soon. So,
Hmm.
how did you become an actual healer?
Hmm. Well, to be honest, going through difficult times.
Hmm.
I was going through a very, very difficult time. You would, from the outside, people would think, oh, he's successful. He's got this going on, performing, living the dream. But even people who are living the dream still are facing the challenges of life,
Exactly.
relationship issues, family issues. There's a whole gamut of things that we can go through. So
Yes.
I was going through a difficult time. And I was looking for something that could help me relax, help me um, just find a little bit more inner peace.
Hmm.
And so I went for Reiki, and it was the first time I felt really good. So I took a couple more sessions,
Hmm.
and I realized that Reiki is a very, very beneficial therapy for
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
And so I've always had this desire to help people, love people, uplift people, and I thought this is another modality that can really help people with that.
Hmm.
So I decided to take it, and I didn't really think I would go to the master level. I thought maybe I'll just take level one. And when I took level one, I realized, okay, there is something very special about this. It might have been level one or level two, but I remember being in my room, which was pitch black, sitting
Hmm.
on the floor, meditating, and I had just had the attunement that day. So I can't remember if it was level one or level two.
Yeah.
And when I opened my eyes, I'm in this pitch black room. I open up my eyes, my hands are like this, and I literally see little thunderbolts coming off my fingertips. And I was, what the heck is going on? And then I realized, okay, there really, really is something to this.
Hmm.
And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take it to the master level. And when I release my albums, I put I can't do the symbols on air, but I put the Reiki symbols on my music on the recordings.
Wow.
So that's when I say that my music is meant to be healing, and people, if they listen to it, should get it somewhat of a healing experience from it. It's because I do things like that. I attune my consciousness to the highest frequency that I can, and I try to embed love, healing, and like I said, the Reiki symbols onto it.
Wow. I'm just checking out the chat here, Johannes. You are loved, loved, loved.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
uh, Namaste, Lynn, everyone there. A lovely person. Fanny, love your music. She listens to your music.
Oh, nice.
Kenneth Lee, hi from Hong Kong.
Wow.
Fanny's from Quebec City. Love your healing. And from Colorado Springs, Jan.
Oh,
So
Colorado Springs.
namaste,
Jan. Oh,
Jan,
yes. Nice.
Kenneth, everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome to Awakenings Moments to Inspire. All these new faces. It's absolutely wonderful.
Nice.
So you're loved.
And they are loved back. So thank
You're
you. Thank
loved.
you. Thank you.
That's amazing, amazing, everyone. So you have got some wonderful news coming up that you have told me about. You are actually taking your healing to the next level. You were doing, I should mention though before, you were doing retreats, that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. I have a house in the Dominican Republic, which I call my ashram. And prior to prior to COVID, I was conducting weekly yoga classes. And I had a bit of a following with my music. So I
Mhm.
put out in my newsletters, hey, I'm going to be doing a yoga retreat in the Dominican. And I was doing them in other places as well. I've done them in Hawaii a couple times, a few different states in like Florida, Texas, California. And but I kind of settled on the Dominican Republic
Mhm.
for my retreats. And having a following that I do, I
Mhm.
put out in my newsletters that I'm offering a retreat. If you're interested, please let me know. And maybe 2-3 times a year, I would bring just a small group, very small group. I felt that was better because everybody was getting a lot of attention, and it was just a lot easier to disseminate what I wanted to impart to people. So yes, I was definitely teaching and conducting retreats, and I hope to be able to start again, maybe in the new year.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an even bigger project on the go that's coming up,
Yes.
opening up here in a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
tell everyone about that. I'm just going to let you
Yeah.
talk.
So I'm very lucky. My dad was in construction. He's been retired for many years now. But back in the 1980s, he bought a building,
Mhm.
which he was using for construction. And then once he retired, we rented out the building to different people. And unfortunately, due to COVID, we had a wonderful tenant that had lost her business because of all the
Mhm.
closures and whatnot.
Mhm.
So I had this space, and I thought, okay, well, either we're just going to rent it out to somebody else, or I'm going to turn it into a healing arts center. And I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
I made up my mind, and there's a large yoga room which is going to be used for sound healing. I'm going to be teaching yoga there. I'll probably give small concerts, maybe have some sitar players come give concerts, music that is very high frequency.
Mhm.
We're going to have ecstatic dance.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to be the only one teaching yoga. I've got some other yogis involved now as well, and
Nice.
I'm going to continue to build that. And then I also have some treatment rooms. So there's going to be live blood cell analysis, nutrition,
Wow.
acupuncture, and reflexology and things like that. So finally, this has been a dream of mine for a long time. I think it's been over 10 years. I acquired the name Divine Earth, divineearth.org and divineearth.com. And I also trademarked the name. So I'm the Divine Earth. And so I've always wanted to do this. I've called my place in the Dominican my Divine Earth Yoga Ashram. And
Yeah.
now I've got the Divine Earth Yoga Ashram and Healing Arts Center in Oakville, Ontario. And that's going to
Nice.
open up on basically November 1st.
I'm going to make the 2-hour drive
Oh,
for
nice.
sure. Well, actually, I think it's closer to 3 for me,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna make the 2-hour drive. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna
That'll be
I've been
wonderful.
gonna try and be there for the opening. Wow, that's amazing, amazing. That oh, And so did you say you were going to do your sound therapy there too? Because I
Yes.
had a question here
Yeah.
from Amanda. She was saying, I've never heard of sound therapy.
Mm.
Where do you offer that? If you're in Oakville after November 1st,
Yeah. So
there's a place to
yeah,
offer.
people can contact me through my website, johanneslinstead.com, or through my
Mhm.
email, which is mail, MAIL, at johanneslinstead.com. And I can keep them on the list. And once things are really rolling, I can
Mhm.
let people know. And if they want to come out, that'd be wonderful. I already have my bowls set up. They look beautiful there. I'm just working on some more lighting. But the
Ah,
place is
nice.
pretty much ready to go.
Now, do you find that that modality of healing is something that can translate across the internet? So I know with some distance, some healings that even Reiki you can do at a distance. Is sound healing something that you could do at a distance as well? Or is it better for them to be in the
It's
room to
definitely better to be in the room because the way the sound carries, it will really envelop you. Like, it's amazing. So I have the bowls on one end and had someone playing them. I stood at the other end.
Mhm.
It literally felt from the other end of the room that the sound was in my body. Like, it was just in my body and all around me. Even though the bowls were like 20, 30 feet away from me, it sounded like the bowls were right beside me. It
Mm.
even astounded me. So
Mm,
yeah,
wow.
I'd say being in the presence of that sound is better. But if you can't,
Mm.
then at least, yeah, if you can listen
Through
to it,
speaker.
it'll still have some effect.
Yeah, I can imagine that the sounds wouldn't translate through the electronic speaker
Yeah.
as well as it would through the actual air.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I had actually never thought of it. I thought maybe at first it would be a modality that you can translate across the internet, but it really, really isn't. So yeah, amazing. Oh, we got so many more people here. Kenneth is saying congratulations. Joanne is saying congratulations. Sounds amazing. Um, there's Gary's one of our community members. Keep up the great work, brother.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
Gary and I are the ones that are collaborating on the book together
The
that
book.
we're coming
Oh,
together
amazing.
for our
Amazing.
global Minga
Yeah,
project. So
very
we're
nice.
really working together on that. He's quite the author and writer,
Mm.
poet. So I'm looking forward to putting together that book
What's Gary's last name so we
him.
can get
So
a shout out?
there's Watson,
Gary
Gary
Watson.
Watson.
Okay. We're going to look you up, Gary.
And what else do you have? You were talking about something that you were excited to tell us about. And I wrote it down, but now I can't even remember what it was. Spotify. No, you're on
Yeah.
YouTube, you're on Spotify. What other places can they? You're also
Basically
on
everywhere.
yeah, I was gonna say e-music,
Basically everywhere.
Pandora Radio. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my music is basically everywhere. My latest album is Bohemian Strings.
Mhm.
You can listen to that on Pandora if you're in the US, Spotify, pretty much everywhere else, Apple Music, YouTube. And if you can sign up to those channels, I forget what they call it, if you subscribe or follow, whatever it is, that'd be really helpful.
Mhm.
Uh, and like I said, I am working on a new album. I have a Christmas song that I put out a number of
Thank
years
you.
ago.
Yeah.
So it's almost that time. I
Yeah.
guess what they say right after Halloween is kind of the time when they start doing the Christmas stuff. So we're almost there.
Listen, it's already up in the stores.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the song is called "Tropical Christmas," and it's a really fun song. It's simple, but it's really catchy. So I hope people will enjoy that one too.
Oh, I'll have to download that and take a listen to. So, any other magical, amazing things that you've got on the back burner that you've got planned? Any collabs with anybody? Any music?
Well, for the most part, all my music that I put out is somewhat of a collaboration because I always invite other musicians to
Oh,
record.
nice.
It's not just guitar music. I have
Yeah.
percussionists from around the world, musicians from around the world. Like, gosh, I've had musicians from Spain, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, India, all the islands in the Caribbean, pretty much, Latin America. You name it. I've had so many different musicians that have added their essence to my sound as well. I write all the music, but they add their touch to it.
Amazing, amazing. So you
Mhm.
don't have a set group of people that you work with? You actually.
I do. I have a core set of guys, a
Mhm.
drummer, the accordion player. He also plays piano, a rhythm guitar player that this is more or less for live,
Yeah.
and bass. So
Right.
that's kind of the core sound. And then from there, because my
Record.
music has lots of different influences. Sometimes it's Cuban sounding, Dominican, which is like a merengue feel, Latin American, Mexican sounds, also Middle Eastern sounds. On my last album, I had a wonderful violinist from Lebanon,
Amazing.
and that's a sound that you just can't get from any violinist. It kind of has to be a musician that comes from that culture to really give that sound. Like I haven't heard anybody play like him from a Western sound point. So when I need a real
Really
authentic sound, I'll get the musician from that culture.
amazing. Amazing. I Again, I have a musician in home, but I to sit here and listen to you talk about and about the nuances. I must be absolutely tone deaf when it comes to music, but I know what I like and I know what I listen to, and I had mentioned to you
Yeah.
that my favorite composer is Haydn, and I don't know why when I listen to him,
Oh,
he just makes me feel happy. And so
nice.
music
Yeah.
always speaks to that soul and to that, and it's effortlessly what I love about music too is it's effortlessly in service to everyone, that
Hmm.
equally, that it doesn't treat, anybody differently. It is an entity of awareness and awakening that you can use a tool, but also
Hmm.
it's more than a tool. It speaks to I for me anyway,
The human
the music
condition.
I love. Sorry?
It speaks to the human condition.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
when you like the music you like speaks to your human condition. So
Hmm.
whatever music you like might be different from the other person, but it doesn't matter because it's all
Yeah.
speaking to you
Yeah.
the same way at that's what
Yeah.
I love about music. I'm not really good at music. I love
Mhm.
listening to it, but
Yeah.
I knew that that was not my lane a long, long time ago, for
Hmm.
sure. But when I listen to people speak about music, like yourself or even my husband, they talk about he talks about music, and he'll listen to bands and stuff, and he'll be mentioning frequencies and tones and things, and I'll be looking at him like, "What?"
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when music really speaks to you, it goes down into you and it
Hmm.
births and it gives to others, and
Yeah.
that's what you're doing, and it's done effortlessly, like, you were in service and helped so many people around the world from helping them get over loss, illness, hard times, and you were in service without even being aware that you were in service. It was, like, effortless, and
Hmm.
that's what I love about music, and it's in service to everyone equally, and
Yeah.
it's
You could say it's like the sun. The sun is shining equally for everybody, whether you're a sinner or a saint. Everybody
exactly,
is still getting that benefit of the beauty of the sun.
exactly, exactly. Kenneth is wanting to know world tour?
I don't know.
No,
I
you
don't
don't
know.
know?
It's hard. Yeah. I have
Oh,
some family issues that kind of prevent me with my mother, unfortunately. Yeah.
from going far from home right now, but maybe in the future, you never
Yeah.
know.
Oh, in the future for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe in the future.
Mhm.
So, we can find you here, everyone who is oh, we still got a few minutes left. Hi. Oh, now my lions are coming up. Um, oh, being a fan of your music since, Mediterranean. Keep up the great work. That's from Kenneth as well.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much, Kevin.
he's really into your music. Um, and so if you're wanting to learn more about, Johannes, you can his, email and website is along the bottom there. Hi, sweetheart. I see you. And, oh, thank you. My husband's just giving me the time there. Thank you, baby. Um, I'm just can you get off my notes? Thank you. Thank you. Very good. So with the It's opening up in November, and you're going to be busy with that. You're going to be busy at home. Are you
Mhm.
going to find time for yourself? What do you, any big plans just for you alone and you only, that you've got on the back burner that you just,
Not really.
no, no.
I mean, the things I do for myself, I guess I'm lucky, are good for other people too. You know, like music and the Healing Arts Center. You know, that is something I'm very, very passionate about. Um, it's going to take a lot of time, but
Mhm.
I feel good dedicating whatever time I have to the service of others. I mentioned earlier my name is I am recorded the name Seva G, which comes from
Mhm.
Seva Singh. That actually was given to me by my teacher's teacher, Yogi Bhajan, and
Nice.
it means lion of devotional service. So I guess he had seen that that is something that is in my soul. And maybe it's my destiny to be in the service of others, and that's where I get my most joy and my most pleasure.
We have a, as soon as you said lion, we have a, in the Yoga of Self-Ascension community, which is what I belong to.
Mhm,
My teachers are Master Lady Kira Ra and Wisdom Teacher Sri Ramka.
mhm,
And they, Master Lady Kira Ra channeled through Archangel Zadkiel the lost books of the Essene, and one of the teachings there speaks about the lion coming out of the woods, and how the lion can come out of the woods when they're ready. They know when they're ready. They
mhm,
just they come out and they sit and they lie down, and it's the others' reactions to the lion coming out of the woods. There will be those that are afraid and that will run away. There will be those that are afraid and will try and harm you. And then there will be those that understand you and will embrace you.
mhm,
And it seems like that's really, you have been a lion that has come out of the woods, and you have found the community that embraces you. And
mhm,
it's obviously evident here on my screen with all of these beautiful people coming in and chatting. You are definitely a lion that comes out of the woods, and you have stood in your center and just allowed the joy to move around you. And it's amazing to watch. Even with the hard times that we all have, you seem to be able to, I'm assuming through your music, um, that really helps you to stay centered and grounded in who you are and what it is that you want to bring to the world. And
mhm.
I honor that
Thank you.
immensely. And
Thank you.
the synchronicity there, I just had to mention that because that is
Mhm,
one of the major teachings that the yoga of self-ascension
mhm,
follows, and that just to be yourself, be your lion. Don't worry about those who will run away, and
mhm,
ignore those who will try and hurt you, and be with those who will embrace you for sure, for sure.
mhm.
I'm
As
with
you said all that, your aura expanded. I noticed it expanding. It was very beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We if you are want anyone who wants to and are listening here and are wanting to know a little bit more about the yoga of self-ascension, or about the lost books you have seen, it's all for free. You can go to my teacher's website here. I'll just pop it up quickly along the bottom. It's shriandkira.com, and you can go there. And if you just go onto their website, to their main menu, click on it, and it'll say lessons, and there's lessons from the lost books of the Essene. um I can't think of any more off the top of my, it just all literally flew out of my brain. Blue Starborn, all kinds of wonderful lessons there. And I would just highly recommend you go there too, and check them out at shriandkira.com. So we are quickly running out of time, Johannes. I am going to have you on again if
Oh,
you'll.
that'd be lovely.
I would love to have you on again,
Absolutely.
particularly maybe even before Christmas, just to let
Yeah.
us know how your clinic and your healing center is going. That I'm just so excited about that for you.
Oh,
And,
thank
and
you.
anything else that's going on. And then you can definitely talk about your Christmas song then. I would love you to even come on. Could you play it for us?
I have to think about that one. There's a lot more involved than just the guitar. So yeah.
Okay. No worries. No worries. That's what I thought too. I'm going to have him on and just have him maybe give us a 2-minute little solo or something, even just to let everybody listen to you and your beautiful fingers, and music. So, is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with today?
I would say just my own wish that all beings be healed, all beings find their inner truth, all beings be uplifted, all beings embrace the light within, and find
Mhm.
compassion within, forgiveness for all, forgiveness for yourself, which is so essential, and just spread love.
Namaste. That's amazing. Thank you, Johannes. And I think that might be our cue. I just got a notice here saying, oh, there it went away. Sometimes we get hiccups in our stream, and every once in a while, a notice will pop up to say, you're having difficulty with your streaming, but it went away. So we're all good. I was going to say perfect timing because we're about ready to close the show anyway. I just want to say thank you to all of the beautiful people that came and helped co-create this hour with Johannes and I together today. It has been an amazing, amazing show. I can't wait to have Johannes on again. We're definitely going to have to stay in touch for sure, for sure,
Thank you.
and have you on again because it's truly been a magical hour. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you, everyone out there who is listening in Radio Land and streaming. I guess it's not Radio Land anymore, streaming land. I can't wait to see you all again next week, Thursday. We are going to have a different time next week, actually. It will be at 6 o'clock. I will be posting a notice here very shortly in the next day or so. So next Thursday, it will be at 6 p.m. instead of 11 a.m. I have a guest that could not make it until that time. But I wanted her to be on live as opposed to just having a taped show for you to watch because it's so much fun to interact like this. Definitely a lot more fun. So Gary's saying, definitely come again, brother. For sure, for sure. And Eva's even saying, excellent program. Thank you all again so much. And I can't wait to see you all next week. Until then, have a beautiful day.